We go to number 18. 18 in your top 40 quarterback list is
Tua Tagovailoa, Miami Dolphins.
Close.
I don't think I said that right.
Tagovailoa.
Did I say Tagovailoa?
I think you just Taga. Like,
Let me do that again. Tua Tagovailoa, Miami Dolphins,
Okay.
number 18. Sorry, I did not mean to say that there. It's sometimes I see a word and I think I just sound it out, like right as it looks, and I just talk, and I'm an idiot that way. So
Tua's
sorry.
18. Tua's
But
18.
Tua is the man. Tua is the reason we just say Tua, and we know who he is, okay? Tua is 18. Tua can do it all, okay? As far as all of a lot of the nuanced things you need for a quarterback. He is the ultimate NFL point guard at quarterback, right? And there is a lot about his game I really like. And yeah, when I say, he can do all the nuanced quarterbacky things, I do mean that. He is a very quick decision maker. He has a lightning quick release. His accuracy, especially on short to intermediate throws, I would argue is up there with anybody in football in a lot of ways, right? He can see the field in that little realm, right? The 5 to 12 yard throws, he can see them, as good as anybody in the game. I'm not even joking. Like, he will drop back at times and I'll go, holy shit, he got that out quick. And how did he see that window, right? So I'm certainly not going to, hate on him in that department. His throwing is a natural, fluid, flowing motion. I like his motion, right? He does have different arm angles. I like that as well, right? He moves around pretty well, especially in the pocket. He's not a great runner, but he does move around well in the pocket. So all of that I like. Screen game, puts it in the right spots, does all of that. Throwing with anticipation and touch, right? Where I've talked about some of these guys who have more talent than him, right? But that's where I'll give Tua credit. He does have the guy's running a 20-yard in cut. He's not even at the in cut yet. He's not making the break. But I see a hole, the pocket's kind of collapsing. I'm going to throw my change up and kind of lob it in there so he can run in and get it, right? He is very good at that stuff. He's got great touch and feel for the football. So all of that stuff I like. And, of course, we're seeing him get better and better and better, and he stayed healthy. So I'm happy about that.
Dolphins fans have never heard you be so positive about Tua Tagovailoa, and that's actually not fair because you have said some of this stuff in the past.
Yeah.
The ultimate point guard.
Yes.
And this is the tier of is a solid quarterback.
Right.
He's very good.
Right.
But there's always a but.
But can he make the required big-time throws in big-time football games or elements when it gets tough or when the game gets tough and gritty and now it's like, hey, anticipation, right? It ain't going to be there a ton today. You're going to be in the pocket. You're going to have to make a throw with close quarters. People are going to be around you, right? Can you do that against the Buffalo Bills in Week 18 and the pockets collapse and, Jalen Waddle's open for a 20-yard out route, right? And you got to make that throw and you can't really step into it and do that. No, those are the issues here. That's the big question. Is he going to be able to make the big throws and big games to get them over the hump? Right? The game is great when it's a high-flying, hey, we're the Golden State Warriors. We're going to score 170 points today. Boom, 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 boom. He's amazing that way.
75 degrees, Southern Florida.
Right. But as we talk about, and we're going to talk about another quarterback similar here in a minute, but as soon as the game gets tough, gritty, ugly, my coordinator's playing a really good defensive coordinator, and my head coach, and they're throwing some wrinkles at us, and he's not all over this defensive game plan like, he was for the first 10 weeks of the year, right? All of a sudden you start to see those kind of flaws, right? And then the fact that he does have to anticipate a little bit more than the normal big arm quarterback and all that. Oh, no, the pocket's collapsed. He has to anticipate too quick in some of those games. So where he throws the ball and you're like, there's 4 guys there, but he had to throw the ball, so quick because he's not big. He's not going to hang in there and make throws while he's getting hit and doing all that, right? To where that's what he has to resort to. And, of course, that's where you could watch his 4 best games and go, he's the best quarterback in football. But then you could watch the 4 bad games and go, damn. Do I want him to be my starter going forward? That's what I mean. And I don't mean it to that extent, but it can get ugly. It can get ugly. The Chiefs game was ugly. Both games. Ugly. I mean, the Bills games, both games are ugly. The Ravens, beyond ugly, disaster. So that's what I mean. There is a hot and cold element, and that question of, can he get you over the hump in those big games?
Right.
That's what I would say there.
So that's the question. And you brought up his worst games, right? And unfortunately for Tua, it seems like the past couple years, especially last year, his worst games came at the end.
Moments,
and
it
wasn't even just like
year.
at the end. It was like literally his 3 worst games were the 3 last games they played. Week 17 versus Baltimore. Week 18 versus the Bills. And then in that cold playoff game in Kansas City.
And the Chiefs.
On Peacock. Exclusive.
Right.
It was a good time. We had a fun time in
we
studio.
We had a great
with that.
time.
But they did not in that game. And so that would make you pause, because the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, and you're going to have to win in elements, especially in the AFC at some point. And is he able to do that?
I think that's it. Or, even go that, when was that Tennessee Titans game? Like 2 weeks before those games that you just talked about?
Yeah.
Because they lost that game too. And that's where I would go into the thing. I go, I think the Tennessee Titans game was like mid-December. I feel like it was.
December 11th.
Okay, so that was like week 14. And if you remember, that wasn't beautiful either. And that was because, right, it was the Titans, and Vrabel had a pretty good game plan, and they made the game kind of ugly.
That game was in Miami, too.
It was in Miami, yeah. But they did some things creatively on the game plan side of the ball, and it gave them struggles. It took away the system advantages that he's very good at taking advantage of. And I'm not taking anything away from that, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in football where I'd go, hey, they have more talent than he is, but I don't know if they can take advantage of all the things he's being taught and take advantage of all the system rules and everything they have that way. But at the same time, when those system rules and advantages are taken away, you'd like your guy that you think is going to be the future franchise of your quarterback to just go, hey, he can make some throws and make some plays off schedule and do stuff like that to help us weather the storm right now until the play caller gets a better feel for what the defense is doing, right? And that sometimes does not happen with Tua. And that's where, again, we get into the contract, how much do you pay him, and all of that is going to be a very interesting conversation as we go forward.
So Pete has noted the narrative around him is he is in a good system but can't do anything outside of it. But you just don't say that to Dolphins fans, because they still want to believe in the Tua hype. And, of course, why wouldn't you want to believe that? Last year it was easy to believe in it because, as you see by his numbers, led the league in passing yards, was top 5 in completion percentage, yards per attempt as well, passing touchdowns, passer rating last season. I was looking at his game log just now. His last 300-yard game, though, was week 11 against the Raiders. And then after that, he did not go over 300 yards.
And even that game wasn't that great. Right? Again, we got to a part of the year where you always hear me say this, right? I used to say this about Jared Goff with the Rams, the McVay specials. We got to the part of the year where the McDaniels specials started to, wither away a little bit, because teams were like, wait, they do this when we get in this, and teams get figured out a little, right? And that happens to everybody every year. And then it's, of course, on not only the coordinator to kind of readjust, but the quarterback to be able to fight you through some of those moments too. And that's where, I question that a little bit. And I don't know where, again, I know what he is. I hope he can get better at throwing the ball, like we talked about with the power throws. There's certain games and things where it feels like teams are not really worried about where he's throwing the ball, right? And you know me, I'm big into make a defense defend every square inch of the field. And sometimes the Dolphins have to do that throughout the offense, and it's not necessarily because of Tua's arm and ability that way.
Per Pro Football Focus, he had the lowest time to throw, 2.33 seconds, so they're getting the ball out fast in that offense, and they function best when they're doing that.
Right, that's right.
He had the highest grade of any Pro Football Focus quarterback last year, but they recently came out with their rankings. They're trying to compete with what we do here on Simms Unbuttoned, and they had him 14th in their system. So they're starting to see things, and I think the whole football community is starting to see things a little bit how you see this too.
Well, yeah, hopefully. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be negative. I think it's cool that PFF used to just stay by their grades.
It really did, yeah.
I think it's very cool that they're looking at it going, yeah, the grade is good, but there's other things here that are helping that grade, and it's not necessarily Tua related, right? I think what I'm trying to say a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing, and that's the big question, just going forward. And of course, that was the question by the past regime and all of that. But But there's a lot of good. There definitely is. It was good to see him play a full year and stay healthy that way. I also saw a little edge in him at times last year. I did. The way he talked to the media, some of the things he said when people were hating on him and all that, I like that. He got to bring more of that edge to his football team. That offense needs that. I don't know if that offense has a guy, right, that is like a vocal, hey, what the you guys doing? We got to pick our shit up, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they have that guy. And, hopefully Tua can help that out a little bit.
They have the coolest wide receiver room, maybe in the history of the NFL. The history of the NFL.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, who just got paid. We just found out before we started here. And Odell Beckham.
Yes.
I mean, there's never been a cooler wide receiver room in the history of the NFL.
Might be the richest wide receiver room ever too. With those three guys getting paid like that, right? I mean, yeah, it is. They got some personalities down there. They got some talent. I talked about this today on PFT.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, to me, are in a very critical point of their organization right now for the near future and all of that. Right? They got. I mean, of course, the Tua situation. They're a good football team. It's year 3 for McDaniel, right? They haven't got past the wild card round. There's the question surrounding Tua, right? They couldn't keep their best O-lineman at guard who went to Carolina Panthers, right, last year, right? They got a tackle on his last leg in Teron Armstead, right? They lose their center. They can't pay Christian Wilkins, okay? They just paid Jalen Waddle big-time money, which is going to lead to Tyreek Hill going, wait, Jalen Waddle's making more than me, and I'm better than him. I want more money. That's what's going to happen here, right? So they got that, let alone the Tua contract, let alone Jalen Ramsey. They're paying a lot for where he is in his career. They got Jalen Phillips coming off an Achilles tear, who's a superstar. They got Bradley Chubb, who they're paying a ton, who's coming off an ACL tear late in the season, right? They just drafted another pass rusher because they're worried about which one of those guys could be healthy and contribute, and Chop Robinson, right? Yep. And then they're going to have to pay Javon Holland like he's the top safety in football to go along with that. Like, the Dolphins got a lot of stuff going on. And there's a lot of roster movement this past year, and I could see that happening again next year. I'm interested to see kind of what they look like this year. I know they're going to be fun and exciting and fast and highlighty. But again, I'm still going to question whether they can win those tough, gritty football games we're talking about.
Stephen Ross is probably the one to Roger Goodell telling him to sell more games to Netflix so they can increase that salary cap, because they need it, maybe more than most teams out there, to keep all the guys that you just mentioned together. So I don't want this to be totally negative. I feel like there was some negative here, but we want to sing the praises
here. I started
here.
So positively, you couldn't get over it. Now you're reeling me in the other way.
Remember all that stuff. And also, I think maybe the biggest pushback that you'll get from Dolphins fans is like, what do you mean? He's got a great deep ball. We see him hit Tyreek Hill, and there's some video recently from OTAs.
Yeah.
A deep ball to rookie Taj Washington. Is it Taj Washington here? And it is, look at that. Like, the nose
he can
coming
throw
down
some beautiful deep balls.
So here you go. There's the counterpoint.
No, and he can. As far as like fades, right? Little go routes, corner route that he's got to throw maybe before the guy comes out on a break, right? He's beautiful. Beautiful that way. He really is. But at the same time, I could show you a bunch of other throws during the year to go, like, damn, Tyreek's gone here. Waddle's gone. And they had to stop, or the ball didn't get there. It got knocked down, right? So there's still that aspect, too.
Yeah.
And, he gets delivered some down the field throws that are just, phenomenal, right? I mean, because of all the things he's wheeling, he's dealing, it's quick, boom, boom. Hey, it's throw here to Tyreek, it's a screen here to Waddle. Oh, there's Mozart to the toss crack. Oh, there's a, fake throw to Tyreek and a screen over here. So then the defense starts to creep up, and they're like, we got to take away all these quick damn things they're doing with these guys. And then it's like, oh, boop. There goes Tyreek. See you later, right? So, there's a little of everything there. He's a really good player. There's no doubt about it. I'm not rooting against him. There's lots of positives. I think the negatives we talk about are very apparent to everybody, and I don't think I'm trying to hate on him or being too critical there. I think those are real questions that are circulating around the NFL and even into the public like you're talking about, and let's see if he can squash them this year.
Will he get a new contract? That's the question for a lot of these quarterbacks here. I mean, $50 million, that's the going rate for a quarterback, especially one who led the league in passing yards last year. He was 21 last year for you. He was in the crap or get off the pot tier. I think he crapped.
I do.
He did well.
Yeah.
And it's the first time he's in the top 20 for for you. So maybe moving his way up slowly but surely.
Yo, what's up? Thanks for watching, homies. You know it's the off-season, but there's no off-season with Chris Simms Unbuttoned. It's the NFL. It goes all year around, all right? So hit subscribe, please, to hear my thoughts on your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, and, hey, how this season might unfold as we get ready for the 2024 season. We got a better picture, clearer look now that the draft is over, free agency. We know who's playing quarterback for certain teams. So, again, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. Check you out soon.